This week on Lights Camera Akron, we took a look at the renovations of Zook Hall.
We also sat down with the student government president, Taylor Swift, to talk about the university.
One of our reporters also met with a hypnotist. All that and more on Lights Camera Akron.
Your source for news, events, and entertainment here at the University of Akron, which starts right now.
Welcome to this week's report of Lights Camera Akron. I'm Casey Hodgkiss.
And I'm Amanda Marotta. To start off the show, our producer, Cody Ricci, sat down with Mr. Stephen Meyer to discuss the renovations at Zook Hall.
What exactly is going on in there and when will it be done? Let's find out.
The infrastructure and buildings need to be kept up, repaired, and renovated. Lifespan of a building is really only about 40 to 50 years. Things rust. We're getting rid of. Part of the thing we're doing in this building is abatement. That was a part of the demolition. There's no more asbestos in the building. That's all been pulled out. We have asbestos. In a lot of these old buildings, and it's perfectly safe. As long as it's not disturbed. And so we use these opportunities to renovate these buildings we need to remove the asbestos to get the place clean, make a clean building. We're increasing energy efficiency of these buildings. While Zook Hall essentially was kind of the next in line. We're working our way along academic way. We did Lee Hall a few years ago. Zook Hall was built in 1963 and really has not had any renovations done to that in the last 53 years. So, it's basically kind of the next in line. Everything except for the exterior brick skin and major structure. We are basically completely gutting the building. The elevator's been moved, all the windows are new, the new HVAC system, new plumbing systems. We're having the new addition off of the north side, as I think you guys can see out there. That actually is going to be quite nice. We'll be bringing new new kind of fully updated laboratories for the College of Education in there. We're creating a lot of student spaces in the building, faculty offices along the outsides of the building. They were just kind of there. Instead, we're creating suites now so that the faculty have better interaction with each other. With the limitations in the size of the building, because it's an existing envelope, the faculty offices are a little bit smaller than they were before. However, we're creating a lot of meeting rooms and breakout rooms within the faculty suites as well as in other parts of the building. This project was funded back in 2012. It's actually been on the books for even longer than that. It's a $15.8 million project. Of that, 13.5 essentially is state capital funds. So that money is already in the bank, and it's part of the process of kind of to renovate buildings. We get a certain amount of every 2 years from the state to deal with the infrastructure and new buildings and renovating buildings and stuff like that. So all the finances were in place long before what this issue here with the recent financial issues. We put together a plan, our office, the capital planning, and works with the provost and the president, and basically we put together kind of a list of priorities of buildings and infrastructure items that need to be addressed up into 6 years in the future. Part of the budget that we had for Zook Hall was actually to create a swing space. Swing space is basically for when we do these renovations. It gives us a place to put the faculty and the staff from that building, and gives them a place to go for the year or 18 months that they need to so we can get that building basically completely renovated. And so we built that space on the third floor of Central Hauer specifically for that purpose. The plan right now is to move Zook Hall faculty and staff and back into Zook Hall in spring break of next year. So it's March, I believe. We want to make it a nice space, inviting space, But we want to put the money into the permanent infrastructure that's really going to benefit the university and the staff and the faculty and the students in the long run.
Well, I cannot wait to see what Zook looks like when it's done. Cody Ricci went out and spoke with the student government president, Taylor Swift, who is not a singer, but a great undergraduate leader.
Do you know that we have undergraduate student government here at the University of Akron?
Yes, I do know that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I guess not. I know there's like one in the residence halls.
No, I did not.
Do you know what they do?
Not too much.
No.
I have no clue.
No.
I don't think so.
What does the student government do here on campus? So basically we act as a liaison and represent all students around campus. The ideas moving forward, the current ideas, what's basically the temperature, the atmosphere going on around, and then through our different branches, our legislative, executive, and judicial branch, we either try to enact policy, hold events, or help with parking appeals for all students around campus. So I think it's really important that students know that they're able to speak out and have their voices heard. And the proper representation for that voice is through our organization. It's the responsibility of not only our executive branch like myself, but also senators that represent our legislative branch to go out and meet the administrative members for their colleges. What impact does the recent changes on campus have to student government? Great question. So back when we as a university decided to go into the direction of becoming Ohio's Polytechnic University, it kind of was a surprise to all of us, students and honestly student leaders. And then the transition that occurred over the summer with positions being let go here in the student union, unfortunately our organization did take a hit. Our secretary and then our faculty advisor at the time were both positions that were actually let go. And so there was a time in our organization right before school started where we really didn't have any leadership when it came to advising from a faculty standpoint and then a logistical standpoint of getting all the proper paperwork and communications for everything moving forward because our secretary was let go. What impact does student government have on the recent changes of this university? Honestly, it's interesting because as much, transparency and communication that our organization shares with upper level administration, going to the president's staff meetings, hearing, the budget decisions, it doesn't necessarily translate into if I speak out or say something in those meetings that it's necessarily taken into effect or looked at. Because frankly, and this is kind of what the last question said as well, we really didn't have any say or any notice that these decisions were being made from the beginning. And I'm not in any way saying that the decisions are negative or positive. It's more of a wait and see attitude. I don't really know if I would say that students have a say, but it's not considered. I think that Scarborough is using the ideology that if we don't change the way we are looked at as a university, we won't survive in the changing climate that is college education today. And it's difficult because I'm caught in the middle as a representative and as a student on what I'm feeling towards these issues. I just think it's important that the communication needs to be improved and the transparency needs to be improved because it's so vitally important because students are the foundation of education. And if the students want something, I think it's really important for them to be listened to. So as the student president, I think it's a bit of a dual perspective at this point. I think I understand both sides so much because, again, I understand the upper level administration of why we need to do this, why we need to change like this in order to survive in the changing climate that is college education today with, 2-year community college first years being free. We have to compete with that. The decreased support in state legislative funding for public schools like Akron. From the student perspective, I want us to succeed as a university. I really do because I love it here. I wouldn't be president if I didn't think that. I wouldn't want to make the difference here on campus through the events, through our social media, through hearing students speak to us. But I also really want to make sure that we're trend-setting, we're staying in front. We stay afloat as a university. So I think that the direction can be considered a good thing. But then, again, the communication has just not been there. We're doing a Big Idea Day, which is going to be Wednesday, October 24th, I believe. And what that is we're going to hold a space in the student union all day. And students are going to be able to come up to us, talk about issues that they feel strongly about, and then write them down and put it in this giant box we have. And this is a yearly tradition that USG does every single year. And then also from a volunteering aspect, again, another yearly tradition we do is Make a Difference Day. We help the student union pass out t-shirts and food for everybody that's volunteering on Make a Difference Day, which is in late October as well. So we're really excited about that. I know I had a blast last year and the year before, so I'm really looking forward to that as well.
Well, that is awesome information for any undergraduate and some great opportunities.
Unfortunately, we have to take a short break, but don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more news and updates.
Hello and welcome back from the break. On to more news for today. My co-host Amanda Marotta had the opportunity to sit down and discuss some fundraising opportunities for the fast-growing disease of diabetes.
Step Out is a walk to stop diabetes. More than 100,000 walkers have partaked in these walks around the United States. Diabetes affects more than 380 million people around the globe. DiabetesResearch.org reported, today diabetes takes more lives than AIDS and breast cancer combined, claiming the life of one American every 3 minutes. It is a leading cause of blindness, kidney failure, amputation, heart failure, and stroke. Not only is diabetes known to be deadly, but it's extremely expensive for households dealing with the disease. Type 1 diabetes is where your body does not produce insulin. This is known to affect 10% of the people who have diabetes. Type 2 diabetes is where your body does not produce enough insulin. This is known to affect 90% of people who have diabetes. According to Medical News Today, drinking just 1 can of non-diet pop per day can raise your risk of developing type 2 diabetes by 22%. To help the cause, Step Out Diabetes Walk teams up with people like the University of Akron to put an end to this disease.
Well, that sounds like an incredible fundraising opportunity to be a part of, Amanda.
It really was. I learned a lot about diabetes that I had no idea about before. But on to other news. Our very own Julie Yaki had the opportunity to speak with the hypnotist Michael C. Anthony. Let's see if we were hypnotized by his interview.
Ever wonder what it would be like to feel that the person beside you just pinched you? Or to believe that a belt was really a snake? Or even that your name was Cha-Cha?
You touch my butt.
Good evening. We are here with Michael C. Anthony, who is back for the 18th time here at E.J. Thomas Hall.
I'm a stage hypnotist. Yes, they've had me here 18 times. I essentially start the show. It's just me on stage, 15 empty chairs. I coerce 30 people up onto the stage, and I put them in a trance and make them do all sorts of ridiculous things.
Michael C. Anthony is recognized as one of the most successful stage hypnotists in the world today. He has been seen on CBS, ABC, NBC, and Fox. And after talking to Luke, it's easy to see why.
Being hypnotized was like nothing I've ever experienced before. It was surreal and mentally disabling.
And with a snap of his fingers, Michael made these volunteers believe an array of outrageous suggestions.
I make people forget their names. I make people think that their hands won't open, although they lock their hands together. No matter what they try, they can't open their hands. I'll change somebody's name to something else. I take them on an imaginary trip to Bahamas. They have extreme hallucinations. They think I'm holding a bottle, but they think it's floating because they're having a negative hallucination. and I'm invisible, so all sorts of insane things happen.
One of Michael's comical stage pranks was to convince the sleeping brew that every time he said the word ouch, they were to believe that the person beside them had pinched them. This led to some entertainingly funny moments.
Where is he? That guy on the edge. In the red? Yeah. He touched, seriously? Yeah, he touched my butt. Yeah, you say, yeah, you. Him? No, he said, the guy over there.
Another priceless command was when Michael had one guy give up his belt, and with just a few explanations and sound effects, the volunteers were convinced that it was a snake. In fact, every time he made that hissing sound, the volunteers on stage ran away in terror. However, maybe the most compelling moments is when several volunteers jumped one on top of the other over the belt, with Michael finally having to state several times, "It's just a belt."
Get up, it's a belt! You tackled a belt! Dude, it's a belt!
If that wasn't enough, try the hysterical act of convincing one young man on stage that his name was Cha-Cha.
Anytime I forget it or mispronounce it, he gets madder and madder and madder.
Michael, with his usual prankster self, would for the remainder of the show be pretending to mess up his name, which seemed to highly offend Mr. Cha-Cha. The University of Akron has brought back Michael for 18 years because students demand it.
I would say, Akron, get ready. We're doing it again for the 18th time. It's going to be crazy.
It was a night of side-splitting mix of mind-bending suggestions and uproarious antics that had even our crew falling fast asleep on the job.
And focus here. Sleep.
This has been Julie Yaki with Lights Camera Akron, sitting here with Michael C. Anthony. Thank you, and now back to you guys at the studio.
Sleep.
Well, I think it would be pretty cool to be hypnotized. I think I'm going to add it to my bucket list.
Really? I'm not so sure. I guess I'll have to think about it over this next commercial break.
So don't go anywhere. We have more discussions for you and Amanda's answer to look forward to. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Lights Camera Akron. That was our final commercial break, which means our show is almost over.
But not yet. We have a few more people who would like to share their insight with us this week. One of our reporters sat down with a student board of trustees member to discuss what's going on in Bookdale Hall.
We are here with Matt Hall. He's a student trustee for the University of Akron. Matt, what issues do you and the board of trustees discuss when you meet?
It's really a wide range of issues, and that was one of the things that was most enlightening to me when I got on the board. Is any issue that the university faces, any decisions that have to be made for the university, the board confronts and handles all of those decisions. So really it's just about any decision imaginable that you could think of that the university would face. The way decisions are typically made is there are specific committees of the board that handle certain issues. So a lot of the decisions are discussed thoroughly through both the committee meetings and the board meetings, and then the board makes a decision, their official decision during the board meetings. I'm a student coming onto this board. I don't have a vote. You know, am I going to be able to voice my opinion? Are they going to listen to my ideas and concerns? And the great thing that I found about our board is that everybody is included. And so for the student trustees, as examples, there's 2 student trustees. I mean, while we don't have a vote, a final vote, other than that aspect of not having a vote, we are board members in every aspect, just like the other 9 board members who are on the board. So we get to take part in all the committee meetings, all of the board meetings, executive sessions were included in those as well, which I know that some other universities around Ohio do not allow their student trustees to take part in executive session. And so one of the great things about the University of Akron's board is that they allow their student trustees to take part in every step of the decision-making process. They are included in everything. And our opinions, I believe, really are valued. All of the trustees on the board are appointed by the governor, including the 2 student trustees. And so the way I view the student trustee position, and the way it's been explained to me, is that as a student trustee, we are a board member on the university's board, just like every other board member. What sets us out as unique is that we provide a student perspective to the board. And so while I consider myself a voice of the students, because I provide a student perspective to the board meetings and committee meetings, our position is a little bit different than those elected positions of student leadership.
What is your take on the changes at the university as a student and as a board member?
When changes happen, you know, it's something that you sort of just have to roll with. I really don't see a difference in myself as a student or myself as a student trustee with how I would view the decisions. It's a matter of trying to understand the decisions and what decisions were made and how they were made, and just knowing that you have to do your due diligence in making the decisions and also understanding the decisions, so getting the information. And so regardless of whether I'm a student or a student trustee, I think my outlook is still the same, that we have to make sure that we are doing our due diligence in properly reaching these decisions and making sure we're discussing the decisions fully, and we realize what effects each decision will have before we make the decision.
The Board of Trustee meetings, how often do they occur, and who can attend these meetings? Faculty, students?
So the meetings usually occur about every month and a half. They're held in the university boardroom, which is on the 3rd floor of the student union, and so anybody who wants can attend, faculty, students, community members.
This has been Cody Ritchie with Lights Camera Akron, here with Matt Hall. Matt, thank you for meeting with us today.
It's my pleasure, Cody. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's some interesting points of view. Those meetings must be captivating.
I'm sure they are, Casey. To get some of our students' point of view, Jade Marshall was our woman on the street for this week. Take it away, Jade.
If you could, what would you change about the student union?
Change about the student union? I'd probably try to get more healthy options.
Put about 3 more floors, 2 more game rooms, and more places to eat.
I don't know.
They could change that bowling alley.
It closes really early, and when students living on campus, that can be pretty inconvenient.
I agree with what he said. Yeah, actually, I wouldn't change anything.
I like the bowling alley, just the lanes is too narrow.
Food options open later, just like the food that I have a problem with.
Skyline chili, honestly.
I love Chipotle a lot. I wish there was like a Chipotle branch here.
Definitely healthier options.
More than just one Xbox and more than just one PlayStation.
Not burritos, all the chicken balls. Yeah, chicken balls. Extra sour cream.
Necessarily the dining services, the way one swipe a day, yeah, I can't even do that, I'm sorry.
Unfortunately, our time is up.
But we hope you enjoyed our news, events, and entertainment for this week.
To know what's going on around at the University of Akron, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Also, be sure to check us out on Instagram. That's all the time we have for today on Lights Camera Akron. I'm Casey Hodgkiss.
And I'm Amanda Marotta. See you next time.
And now we're to the closing.
One, I'll have to think about that over our next commercial break.
That's so cheesy, I can't.
But on to other news.
I didn't know.
Ew, we look nasty.
This program was produced by ZTV at the University of Akron. To find out how you can make Emmy-winning media, visit the UA School of Communication online. ZTV. Make media. Make a difference.